The Senate is going to be holding a vote possibly today on whether to advance legislation to establish a federal recognition of same-sex marriage rights. There's some procedural hurdles that need to be moved past, but it's believed it will pass because enough Republicans have expressed support for it. They believe they will get the 10 needed to pass a filibuster. This is the Respect for Marriage Act. It repeals the Defense of Marriage Act, while also mimicking the name in a little bit, in a little way. I like that. It safeguards interracial marriage by requiring the federal government to recognize valid marriages regardless of sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin. So they're lumping in quite a bit of protection against the possible assaults that might come at the state level from Republicans trying to use this as the next avenue of attack following the destruction of Roe v. Wade. So previously, they could have passed this before the midterms. It might have been a good idea electorally to do so, but unfortunately, Chuck Schumer agreed to postpone the vote because some Republicans said that the formulation of it at that point would endanger religious freedom. So they changed it with an amendment to ensure that nonprofit religious organizations will not be required to provide services, facilities, or goods for the celebration of a same-sex marriage, and protects religious liberty and conscience protections available under the Constitution and federal law, including the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So the House still has a period where they can follow on with the same exact language. It is believed that this will be able to be finalized before what is likely to be a change in the House, which we expect any day now. The last election for the 218th seat for Republican could go through. So this is likely to actually pass. JR, what do you think?
I guess it's a plan to move forward. This is one of those, I wouldn't call it panicked. I wanted to, but last ditch moves once you see the results of what was going on, and at least Senate is still around, or at least will be around for this next stage of this. As you're gonna get to the folks that are in support of hate and taking away people's rights, they're upset about this whole thing. How dare they want to talk about codifying same-sex marriage? It's not like we were coming for it, except the fact we've been talking about how we're coming for it. And if you're not coming for it, then what are you so upset about? Is the next question. But also on top of that, there was one thing in the middle of that. It could endanger religious freedom. They just throw terms out there because they're either in support of something like that or they're afraid of something else. How is it that two people of the same sex getting married in Texas, in Florida, in New Hampshire, how about even in Idaho, John? If there's two people who are gonna get married of the same sex, how is this endangering your religious freedom, your freedom to worship whatever deity you want, your freedom to go to churches and open up a book and read from it, your freedom to listen to someone in the front tell you things to believe and how to go about your life. And if you then leave and live your life, what happens across the country when two folks get married? And then do you feel this twinge in the back of your head? You go, oh my God, I can no longer read the Bible because Jim and Steve got married. I can't believe it. This is a disaster. This is endangering my religious freedom. It doesn't make any damn sense. It's a scare tactic to make it seem like these two getting married that you'll never encounter, hear about, or talk to are somehow infringing on your life. Because the reality is, it doesn't do anything to your life. So we have to make up something.
Yeah, 100%. And bear in mind, back when they were arguing against this, if you go back and see all the things they were saying about the downfall of civilization, this is gonna take everything down. There goes America. Oh my. And we were like, well, that seems weird. I can't imagine how that'll happen. And what do you know? Had no negative reaction that literally anyone can track. Weird how that works out. Some still opposed to it, as we'll move to, but good to see that more Republicans are actually willing to vote for this. That is progress, not nearly enough. It's not gonna be 100-0 or anything, but that's good news. Even the Mormon Church has come out in support of the law. They still have religious issues with it, but this does represent at least some progress. And considering some of the culture wars of the last 2 years, the attacks against the trans community, seeing progress like this, even mild progress, I'll sign up for that.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.